Your strategy is not broken. I know, it feels like it worked for 3 weeks and it stopped, and now you're already learning your 6th strategy that you bought recently. But there are 5 signs that tell you the tools in your hands actually fine. The problem is different. I found that by printing a year of my own trades and going through every single one of them, and none of them show up in your P&L, guys. That's exactly why traders miss them and quit. If 3 or more of these are true for you right now, you've got a different problem, and it's not in your trading, it's a days you're taking it on. Sign number 1, your losers look exactly like your winners. So basically, a few years ago, I hit a wall. I was not blowing accounts anymore. I knew the market structure, auto block, supply and demand. On paper, I knew more about trading than most people actually making money from it. And I was flat. Some weeks green, some weeks red, going nowhere. And every person I asked said the same thing. You're not experienced enough yet. Now, before trading, I worked in audit firm. And in audit, you don't guess, guys. Somebody makes a claim, you pull the records and test it against the data. That's the whole job. So I stopped asking traders. I printed out a year of my trades, every single one of them. And I did what an auditor would do. 2 piles, winners on one side, losers on the other side, and I went looking for the difference. Entry timing? Nothing. Stop placement? Nothing. Position size, time of a day, day of the week, which pair? Nothing. So, my losing setup looked exactly like my winning ones. And here's the thing, that was the worst possible thing I could have found. Because if my losses were sloppy, if there were some mistakes I've made, I could fix those. So, but they were not sloppy. I had done everything right and lost money. So I stopped looking at the trades and I started looking at the days. Every winner happened on a day the market picked a direction and ran. Simply a trendy day. Every loser with the same setup on a day that the market went nowhere. Chopping between 2 levels. Same setup, same rules, same me. Completely different kind of a day. So here's your first sign. Go pull your last 10 losers, not the revenge trade that you took, not the midnight ones, the ones where you followed your rules exactly. Put them next to your last 10 winners. Can you tell them apart? Most traders can't. And when they can't, here's what the brain does with it. It decides the problem must be you. Execution, your psychology, something invisible that you're doing wrong. And no, that's not it, guys. Think about what you have just proved. If your winners and losers are identical trades, then the thing that decides the outcome was not inside of the trade. It couldn't have been. So that's not a mystery, that's a clue. A genuine broken strategy doesn't produce clean winners. It produces mess. If yours is producing textbook wins and textbook losses of the same rules, the rules are fine. Sign 1. Your losses look like your winners. That's not you being bad at this one. That's a proof that the decision was made somewhere you haven't looked at yet. And by the way, if you want me to go through your last 30 trades with you and tell you which one of these signs you've actually got, that's exactly what we do inside of the mentorship program. Link in the description below. Now, the second sign is one that makes people ask for a refund, because the strategy didn't fail you straight away. It worked first, and then the detail is doing more work than anyone realizes. It worked for a few weeks, then it just stopped. Everybody watching this has lived it. You learn a strategy, you start taking it, and it works. For 2 weeks maybe, for 3 weeks, clean trades, confidence coming back. Okay, this is finally one that you have found. And then it stops. Same rules, same execution, same you. Suddenly, every trade is a loss. So, what do you conclude here? Almost everyone concludes the strategy was fake. The guy selling it just got lucky or he lied. So you go find another one. Let me tell you something. A fake strategy doesn't work for 3 weeks. That's a first. If something was genuinely worthless, you'd know inside 4 trades. It would never string together a good run. Those 2 or 3 profitable weeks are not the fluke. They are the proof that the thing works. So the real question is not why it did stop working. It was the true during those 3 weeks then that stopped being true after. And once you ask it that way, you already know the market moves in phases. It trends, it ranges, then it trends again. No trend lost forever, no range lost forever. A trend strategy is a trending phase looks brilliant. So, trend trading strategy looks brilliant during a trend right up until the phase ends. And it always ends, which means it was never a question of whether your strategy would stop working, only when, because it is going to stop working. That's not a bad luck, guys. That's a market doing exactly what it always does. Sign 2. It worked, then it stopped, with nothing changing on your end. That's not a broken tool. That's a working tool, meeting conditions it was never built for. But that raises something uncomfortable. And it's a sign that took me the longest to accept. If your strategy was wrong for those days, what was right for them? Because something was, and you watched it happen. Sign 3. On your worst days, there was a trade sitting right there. Pull up your worst sessions, the ones that where you got chopped to pieces, and don't look at your trades. Look at the whole day. Was there a move on that day? Somewhere. I did that, and the answer was yes, every single time. The days my breakout got destroyed, price came down, tapped a level, reversed clean. Textbook. I watched it happen and never touched it. The days everything turned against me, price pushed past the high, grabbed the stops, came straight back down. Textbook. I sat through it. The market gave me a trade on almost every single day. I just kept showing up with the same one tool. Now, when traders notice this, they blame themselves. I was not watching, I need more screen time, and that's a wrong too, guys. You didn't miss it. You were not looking for it because it was not your setup. You were looking for the trend trading strategy. Are you getting this, guys? Your strategy told you what a valid strategy looks like, and that move was not the one. You did exactly what you were trained to do. The problem is the tool recognizes one kind of opportunity and the market hands you 3. And the days you call no opportunity days, they were not. They were the days with an opportunity you had no equipment for. And that changes what those red days actually mean. It is not what the market took your money. It is that you were holding one key standing in front of the house with 3 doors and blaming yourself when 2 of them wouldn't open. Sign 3, there was always something there on your worst days. That's not you being slow, that's you covering 1/3 of the market and expecting to get paid every day. Quick thing. If this is lending so far, hit the subscribe button. We are on a mission to help 1 million people make consistent profits from the markets, and it genuinely helps this reach more traders who need it. Alright, sign 4. Because sign 4 is the one that sends people to buy psychology courses, and it's the most misdiagnosed thing in the entire industry, guys. You are inconsistent, not consistently bad. Look at your last 3 months, but look at the week by week instead of one number. What you're gonna usually find is a good week, bad week, flat week, good week, bad week, and so on. Not steadily losing, swinging around. And what does every trader conclude? I'm inconsistent. I lack discipline. It's my psychology. And they go and buy a mindset course. Here's the thing, guys. Consistently bad and inconsistent are 2 completely different diagnoses. If your strategy genuinely didn't work, you would be consistently bad. It would lose in every condition, every week, roughly the same. That's what a broken edge looks like. Flat and down all the time. What you actually have is something that prints money in some conditions and bleeds on the other. That's not an edge problem. That's a selection problem. Completely different thing to fix. And the psychology explanation falls apart the second you check it. Because if you were disciplined, and if it was a discipline, your bad weeks would have been full of rule breaks. Go and look. Most of them are not. Most of them are you following your plan perfectly and getting paid nothing for that. You can't discipline your way out of using the right tool at the wrong time. There's no amount of journaling that fixes that. Sign 4. Your swing between green and red instead of being steadily bad. That's not a discipline problem. That's a tool that works some of the time with nothing telling you when. And that brings us to the last sign. This is a sign that you're carrying around as a proof that you can't do this. And it's the one that proves the exact opposite. Sign 5. It happens with more than one strategy. Count how many strategies you've been so far. For most people watching it, it's as 3, 4, 5, or 6. Some of you even more. And here's what I want you to notice. Not that you have about 5. That every single one of them just followed the same arc. You learn it, it works, then it stops working. You blame the strategy, you go find another one. 5 different tools, 5 different teachers, 5 identical stories. And at that point, almost every trader arrives at the same conclusion. And it's the one that makes people quit. I'm the common denominator. 5 strategies failed with me. Maybe I'm just a cutout for this. The trading is not going to work for you. Let me tell you something, guys. You didn't fail 5 times. Think about what 5 identical outcomes actually means. If the strategies were the problem, they would have failed differently. Different timelines, different symptoms, different masses. They didn't. They failed the exact same way, in the same exact order, every single time. That's not 5 failures, that's a one problem showing up 5 times. And a problem that reproduces perfectly across 5 completely different systems is not inside any of them. It's above all of them. So the 5 strategies you're carrying around as evidence that you can't do this, they are the opposite. 5 independent experiments, all returning the same results. You've been reading your own evidence backwards for years. Sign 5. The same thing happened with every strategy you tried. That's not you being the common denominator. That's you proving the problem was never in the strategy at all. So how many are true? So let's count. Your losing trades look exactly like your winners. It worked for a few weeks and then it stopped with nothing changing. On your worst days, there was a good trade sitting right there you never touched. You swing between green and red instead of being steadily bad. And the same thing that happened with more than one strategy. All of this happened. Kept repeating whatever strategy you have tried so far. So how many of them are true right now for you? If it is 3 or more, you don't have a strategy problem. You've got a working tool. You've probably got several of them. What you don't have is anything that's gonna tell you which one today is asking for. Because after that first year, I kept testing years of data, different pairs, indices, gold. And every strategy that exists falls into one of these 3 categories. Continuation, price breaks out of the level and keeps going. It's a breakout and retest trade. So the reversal, price comes back to a level and turns. Manipulation, price takes the stops and reverses. Not most of them, all of them. In 10,000 trades, I've never found a force. And each one belongs to a different kind of a day. So think about that. What does that mean for the last few years? One day in 3, you woke up holding the right tool, you made money and thought you have cracked it. The other 2 days you took the same setup into the market it was never built for. You didn't cover a third of the market and got unlucky. You covered a third of the market and expected to get paid every single day. Now the obvious thought is, fine, learn all 3 and I'll be straight with you about that. That's still not enough. Because now you open the chart with 3 things you could do and nothing is telling you which one you're gonna use this morning. And no, the market structure doesn't solve that. Structure gives you a label after the fact. 2 traders can read it perfectly and take the opposite trades. You've seen that happen. What you need is not a label. It's a read on what kind of a day this is before the session opens. So simply you're looking at the context. So I put together a free training that walks you through exactly how I do that every single morning. The link in the description below. I will see you inside.